Hello everybody. Today we will speak about a microenterprise, if it's still a valid option to keep in 2025. I believe that you already read it or you already found out that the government here in Romania made some fiscal changes in the last day of the year 2024 with the impact in 2025. So it's quite important to see if in 2025 it's still worth it to keep a microenterprise and what are the payments that you have to do and so on. So keep with us and I will explain a little bit about everything. Let's see when and how can you have a micro company here in Romania in 2025. So, accordingly to the Romanian legislation, a micro enterprise is a company that respects the following conditions in the same time. They need to respect all of them, not only one of it. The first condition would be about the turnover that you can have. Now in 2025, the turnover the threshold is 250,000 euro. But you should take into consideration that if in 2025 you will do this turnover, in 2026 you will be changing the fiscal regime from microenterprise to tax on profit. So basically, to keep the company as microenterprise, you should invoice no more than 100,000 euro. Of course, there is an exception here. For example, if you want to make the microenterprise now in 2025, and after that you can close it and open a new one. The threshold will not be cumulated anymore. So why not? It's a solution. The second condition is to have at least one full-time contract for employment contract, or multiple, but together to make a full-time one, and to pay contributions to the minimum salary that we have here in Romania, which is 4,050 RON. Be attentive that this mandate contract or full-time contract must be done in the first 30 days after the company is created. So you need to hire since the very beginning. You cannot wait. The third condition to be a microenterprise is referring to the field of activity. The field of activity must not be on insurance, gambling, capital markets, or banking operations. For this kind of activities, you cannot be a microenterprise. And the fourth, which is also important for the companies that already are set it up here in Romania, is to have all the financial statements submitted on time. It is known that fiscal authorities here in Romania already started to submit some notification of confirmation, and they ask us why maybe some financial situation is submitted with 1 or 2 days in delay. Be very attentive, because due to this, even for 1 or 2 days of delay, then you will not be anymore a microenterprise. So it's really, really important to communicate and to discuss with your accountant and to have a good collaboration with him or her, depending, with the company that you have here in Romania, because if you miss 1 day, you will be taxed with 16%. And now a tip: you should be really careful. Those ones that are already here in Romania with a company opened here, you should be really careful at the threshold of 250,000 euro, because this is counted on all the companies in which you are a shareholder with more than 25%. So you need to let know your accountant in which companies you are and what are the percentage that you have there, because otherwise you may face this penalty from fiscal authorities if you do not do it correctly. And now the good news is that in 2025 there is no rule or regulation for the consultancy. You may have a company in consultancy with 1 or 3%. This is the best news that we can have for this year, at least this. Let's see a little bit who can benefit of this microenterprise regime. Of course, the companies that are newly set up, and for this it's no rule. The only thing that you must respect is to have that full-time employment since the beginning. And the second ones are the startups or the companies that are already created here in Romania, which respect the rule with 250,000 euro turnover in 31 of December 2024. And of course that have at least one full-time employee. So basically all the companies can have this microenterprise regime. The important thing is to respect all the taxes, all the regulations. And now, because we are talking about microenterprise, it's really important to know all the taxes that you have to pay as a microenterprise. A microenterprise pays the taxes on income, on invoices that you issue. It's not important that the client paid you or not. You already issued, so you are having the tax already applied to what you issued. And not on profit. Basically, not on incomes minus expenses. The profit is income minus expenses equals profit. No, a microenterprise pays the taxes on income. And in 2025, the rates are as it follows. The tax of 1% if you have a turnover less than 60,000 euro, and of course if you have an activity which is not in the accepted situation. 3% tax on turnover if you are above 60,000 euro up to 250,000 euro, but you must be really careful not to be on with the activity on the accepted categories. When I'm talking about accepted categories, I'm talking especially about health, about IT field, and HoReCa, hotels, restaurants, and coffee shops. These are the fields in which, if you have a microenterprise, you will be paying 3% since the beginning. You don't have that 60,000 euro to which you will be paying 1%. For this, you'll be paying 3% since the beginning. What is really important to remember is that even for 1% or 3%, you need to have that full-time employee. That full-time employee means that you have to pay taxes as well, and don't forget that you need to hire it since the first 30 days. Now, because we are talking about taxes, let's see, for the full-time employment contract, you'll have to pay like this. The minimum wage here in Romania, as I said, is 4,050 RON. To this, you will have to pay 25% pension, 10% health insurance, 10% tax on income on salary, and there is another tax which is 2.25, which is paid by the employer, basically by your company. Since we are talking about taxes, don't forget, if you have a turnover higher than 60,000 euro, which means 300,000 RON, you'll have to pay also VAT here in Romania if the clients are from Romania, or you'll have to apply reverse charge, and anyway this you should discuss with your accountant here. But VAT, it's something that you need to take into consideration as well. Another tax which is also to be paid here in Romania is tax on dividend, because of course you do this company here in order to take dividends and use the money wherever you want. Be attentive that in 2025 the tax on dividend is higher, is 10%. In 2024 it was 8%, so This is also something that changed in 2025. Be really attentive, because if you take dividends, you'll have to pay again health insurance, but this time in your behalf, not on the employee's behalf. These are all the taxes that you have to pay here in Romania. Tax on income, tax on dividends, VAT if it's the case, and taxes on salary, all the contributions on salaries, and health insurance for you if the dividends are higher than 6 minimum salaries. Now, I will just point out some declaration obligations for micro companies, because even if it's not so interesting for you, it's interesting for the accountants that you have, and you may know what to ask to them. You here in Romania, for a micro company, you may submit up to 5-6 declarations, but the most common are like this: 100 declaration 100 for the tax on income or tax on dividends, declaration 112, which is for contributions to salaries, declaration 406, which is the new declaration that we must submit for all the companies here in Romania, which is a standard file audit for tax. I already talked about this in a previous video. And if you are a VAT payer, you have the declarations 300, which is about the VAT that you pay here in Romania, 394, all the operations that are done on the Romanian territory. And if you have, for example, another client which is from European Union, you need to submit also the declaration 390. So, as I said, there are between 3 up to 6 declarations that you must submit monthly, quarterly, depending on your type of activity and fiscal vector. Now, in the end, what I may summarize is like this. Although the threshold for the micro companies dropped down quite harsh, from 500,000 to 250,000, from my point of view, a micro company, it's still worth it even in 2025. Indeed, after 2025 may not be so attractive, but for small companies, I still recommend all of this because it helps you to save a lot of money. But do not forget that in 2025, a micro company comes and requires strict compliance with all the rules and regulations, and all the declaration must be submitted on time. However, with a good planning and a good compliance with all the fiscal regulations here in Romania, your micro company can still benefit from the advantageous fiscal tax regime that we have here, at least in 2025. I hope that you enjoyed my video, and if there are any questions, you can put them in the comments in the area of the comments here. Thank you very much and have a nice day.